Hello and welcome to the agenda. I hope you're all right. You're having a good day today. I'm joined by Phil Moorhouse. Phil, is your sound working?
Hopefully.
Oh, thank God for that. I'm Graham Hughes, and Phil Moorhouse is with us in the on the chat. Roger Devine, yeah, sorry. There's a I've got to say, all summer it's going to be like this. So I can either do no shows whatsoever, and they'll all be on time because there won't be any of them, or I can try and do my best. And I just spent the last hour fiddling around with my settings, Windows updates, and my audio settings, task manager, device manager, in order to make it so that you can hear what Phil has to say. Otherwise, Phil would have to say stuff. I can hear him, and then I'll just have to repeat what you said, Phil. So you'll be
Like a
saying, "Oh,
translator.
yeah, you say that Labour's doing a great job on YouTube," and I can then translate that into yeah. Uh, but I'll tell you what's really funny. There was a news story on the front cover. I think it was the Guardian or the FT or something today, that Andy Burnham has been given shit from the social media people that Keir Starmer brought into number 10 for his content being too blokish.
You mean relatable?
Yeah. How dare he?
I mean,
Because
the thing
women
is,
don't watch football. Women don't go to the pub.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's much better. It still needs to be improved. There have been a couple of communications cock-ups this week from him. He needs to sharpen it up still. That's the overall comms, not social media.
Yeah.
So it's still not good enough. And I am wary of this because I thought like of Keir Starmer's operation, like when they first got in. Oh God, I hope this gets better once they get more used to it. And it never did. Hopefully Burnham's will, because this hasn't been a good week for him. It's not been disastrous, but it's not been good.
He's on holiday at the moment, isn't he? He's on his jollies.
Well, you say that. See, this is the thing. They're all making this big thing. Oh, he's good in 2 weeks in the job and he goes on holiday. Mate, he's been in the job for years. Like he stopped being mayor and then became an MP and then very quickly became prime minister. He hadn't like stopped. But also, you can sort of tell he's not properly on holiday because he also intervened. But like they had this thing, one of the cock-ups has been surrounding the prison release thing. It's a little bit of a no-win situation, arguably, although I still think the way they've managed it is not ideal.
Mm.
But the communications cock-up aside, the bottom line was this. So he announces people convicted for being in grooming gangs are not going to get early release, right? So that's a nice, clear policy. Then it transpires that some will. Well, why is that? Is that because the officials are ignoring him? No, it's because in the early days of grooming gangs, Keir Starmer, of course, is the first person to charge them, couldn't charge them with some of the offences we have now because we weren't used to this concept of grooming gangs, like the law wasn't equipped for them. So some of them were charged with offences like indecent assault. So what's happened here is Andy Burnham says, like a ministerial edict to the Ministry of Justice, don't release anyone convicted of being in a grooming gang. But before those specific offences existed, some people were, but under different legislation, they could have gone through because like that's the difference between saying a policy and saying it in a way that an official can translate into something you mean. So Andy Burnham has personally intervened to say, right, we need to make sure we do a proper review of everyone that's going to get released so we don't get egg on our face. And that's on holiday. So in what serious sense is he really on holiday if he's still doing government work?
Well, exactly. Well, yeah.
So
But
he is still on the phone and he still is in contact and he's still doing his, he is still doing stuff.
yeah. Did you see the remarkable graph? Not graph. What's the word for it? I suppose it's a graph. That was published this week. About 36% of the population have seen Andy Burnham's social media in the second week of him being prime minister. In the age group of the 18 to 24s, he was 53%. So 50% of young people saw Andy Burnham content, and then you can look at that versus Kemi Badenoch, who's getting like 11%. Rupert
Actually, I
Lowe.
haven't looked her up. Let's have a look her up. I
Rupert
can only
Lowe.
look. Yeah, go on, carry
overall
on.
6%. In fact, with Kemi Badnoch overall, it's 9%. Andy Burnham, it's overall, it's 36%. Nigel Farage is only for 16%. So Andy Burnham's blowing him out the water as well. Ed Davey is nowhere to be seen. 3% of
No,
the population saw Ed
they,
Davey stuff last week.
the thing is as well, it's quite funny because I had actually, I mean, I would offer to help any sort of progressive people with their social media stuff, and and I someone who follows me sort of sent the offer to the Lib Dems, and the Lib from the very top came back saying, "Oh no, I don't really like it. I don't think he knows much about social media. I'm quite happy with my 3 views per video. I think you'll find." So I thought, well, do you know what? I'm not going to put. I'll put effort in for Labour because I'm a Labour supporter. I'm not a Lib Dem supporter, but I would still rather they had a better social media strategy because they're in direct competition with the Conservatives.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I just thought, okay, mate, you carry on. Yeah, I mean, Kemi Badnoch has a good following. I'm looking on Facebook. She has got a strong following on Facebook. She, in actual fact, some of her posts do get a lot of engagement. It's very hit and miss, whereas Andy Burnham's is much more consistent, like in terms of the likes. Thousand, like his bad ones are thousands of likes, and his good ones are tens of thousands of likes. For Badenoch, her good ones are thousands of likes, and her bad ones are hundreds of likes. So there's a clear difference there. But she puts content up. She puts a lot of content. So she puts the same, and this is quite a good test case between Kemi Badenoch and Andy Burnham, because Kemi Badenoch, she's not like just putting up the odd post now and then. She's clearly using Facebook. She's putting effort in. The post is going up, but they're not getting the same sort of engagement. And this is on Facebook, which has got a bit of a right-wing leaning, should we say. So again, so you can't come, I mean, the Starmer's, whatever the hell, moaning about the type of content he's putting up. It's getting engagement. That's your currency. The currency of a politician is popularity. The currency on social media is engagement.
Yeah.
And it's getting engagement. It's getting more than Kemi Badnoch, who's putting in the same amount of effort. It's a nice mix as well. She's got on there. She's got she's linking things she's been on. There's video, there's like posts, there's, all sorts of stuff. Burnham's is just doing better.
But what's really interesting about Andy Burnham's graph, I can bring this up on the screen for people if you want to have a look. I've shown this on the show the other day, but I'll bring it up. Just give me a sec. What I think is really interesting about this is it does have a remarkable fall off as I've sent it over to you, Phil, on WhatsApp. When it comes to by age, it's a more in common graph here. So there it is up on the screen for everyone at home. Andy Burnham has this drop off. So he starts off 53% of 18 to 24-year-olds polled had seen something by Andy Burnham in the last week, right?
Yeah.
49% 15 to 34-year-olds. And you see how that drop off happens. And I was thinking about what you were saying about him not doing enough on YouTube. And I do think that although we look at Facebook a lot as somewhere where there's a lot of older people, and don't get me wrong, there is. For engagement with older people, I think you're right about YouTube being something that they're neglecting at the moment, and that's shown
ignoring completely
in those graphs, in those charts. But Phil, he's got 19% of people aged over 75 who have seen Andy Burnham stuff, nearly 20%, right? Nigel Farage, for that same age group, has got 8.
Is he bothering though? I am going to point this out. I'll just put a little devil's advocate caveat here, because I noticed
he's running he's running for office, Phil.
Listen.
I know.
I noticed after the election, Nigel Farage, huge drop off in his social media content, and I wondered if that's because he's just thinking to himself, GB News are doing it for me. So if you think about Andy Burnham, he has to do his own social media. Who's doing it for him? No one's really doing it for him. I mean, I might do it the odd little bit, but there's just as many videos of me whining about him cutting science funding as there are saying, oh yeah, this works, Andy, well done. So there's no one like really bigging him up on social media,
Yeah.
with a big platform. So he has to do it himself. Whereas Nigel Farage has got GB News to do it for him.
He has.
I mean, let me just see if I can see. On Facebook. Go on.
But yeah, you're right about that. But Andy Burnham did have to come in strong on social media, and I think this is, at the end of the day, I think that Starmer could have got away with a lot more if he had had this sort of conversational dialogue.
Actually,
What's it called? Parasocial relationship going on, which Taylor Swift and Andy Burnham are very good at, and Starmer was just crap at it. I think people are more likely to forgive someone if they feel like they know them, or they feel like
certainly,
they're a
100%.
good
People
egg.
are always, if you if you sort of like relate to someone, you'll forgive all sorts of shit.
Yeah, especially if they make you laugh. We've got a super chat come in while you're looking at that. Cathal, thank you very much, Cathal, OG, for the €5. Phil said last week that Trump shouldn't be impeached. Why? Like, well, there's no point.
Because it won't work, and it'll just help big him up. Because don't give him a contest that he wins. You're basically invited. You're giving him a win.
Yeah.
So there's no point.
I agree with you on
serve no
that.
practical purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at GB News on Facebook. A shite.
It's sad.
On YouTube, they get loads of stuff on it because there's clip loads.
Who's
of
this? Sorry, Phil.
GB News. I was just looking at GB News's Facebook. They've got plenty of followers, 2.2 million followers, but their engagement's bollocks. I mean, it's better than mine, but I've only just started.
Yeah.
It's actually not that much better than mine, in fact, looking at it. So yeah, on Facebook, they're rubbish. I wonder who is leading the cheer. I suppose he's got lots of. He has loads of local Facebook groups, don't they? Restore Britain and Reform UK, don't they? I suppose.
Yeah.
Pushing them. I got told that someone was sharing my posts, on the Clacton by-election, Nigel Farage and stuff, in Clacton, and the local Reform UK Clacton groups weren't happy, apparently. So
who was sharing the post?
Just one of my viewers.
Share the post,
like local Clacton community groups.
I see, in the Clacton community group.
The Reform UKers didn't really like it.
They don't like
it. But the point is that Nigel Farage has other people doing his social media for him. Yeah. I mean, I will always say politicians should do their own social media because it's the only way to get your own take out there. But at the same time, if you've got a load of volunteers who are doing it for you, you could arguably get away with it more than Andy Burnham has no one doing it for him. No Labour leader will have anyone doing it. Well, not a Labour leader can be Prime Minister would have anyone doing it for them.
Yeah. But so he's doing well in social media, Andy Burnham. He's doing less well with the trans community, who are absolutely fucking livid with him at the moment, understandably so. And then you've got one Angry Pagan is saying that Burnham is pissing me the fuck off, raiding the green transition funds. I don't know what that's about. Neglecting the trans community and double down on cutting welfare. I hadn't heard anything about what.
Yes, they are. I mean, again, what it means in practice, we have to wait and see. The rhetoric, you can argue there's a need for the rhetoric because the public are largely of the view that welfare spending is too high. That's just it. As I say, there's different ways of dealing it. Phil. You can actually try to cut welfare, as Starmer and Reeves did. That didn't work out too well. You can, my solution
Soil and Green
is to what?
Soil and Green?
No. Oh. My solution is to literally create jobs. Like, it's quite funny because at the moment they've got this policy. They're asking schools to identify kids who are at high risk of leaving school unemployed. And it's like, well, that could be any number of them. But what they should be doing is identifying areas which are in economic decline, and where there's nothing there that's going to change it, and just create jobs there. You create jobs there. First of all, you put money directly into the local economy. So it's targeted government funding. And also those people then are unemployed. So you take them straight off, and there's potentially other benefits they just won't need. Yeah. There'll still be in-work benefits they'll have access to potentially if they need them. But The rest. So that's one way of that's how I would reduce it.
But
Just basically give people jobs.
What's been announced? Because I haven't seen much about it. Because they said we want to try and help people into work, which is understandable because it's the Labour Party. I suppose that's the raison d'être.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Starmer did that. Like they actually assigned a fair amount of funding for support, but like Burnham may well just carry on with exactly the same program, or he might tweak it. We don't know. We're not going to get any details yet, are we?
No. But I mean, I do feel like there is something to be said for, the way that Burnham's been putting stuff out at the moment. He's going to get into trouble with that, with Lindsay Hoyle, isn't he, when he gets back into Parliament for announcing things not in Parliament, but Parliament's not in session.
Potentially, so, but at the same time, do you know what? I wouldn't really bother about that anymore.
No, I think that's done. That time is over.
Chuck a box of PG tips that I move on.
He'll be happy. But yeah, I mean, I guess that the big policies are going to be announced probably at the end of September at the Labour Party conference.
Yes, given that John Healey has said, so there won't be a September mini budget. They've steered clear of that one.
Oh,
Healey has said he's announcing his budget at the end of October.
Right.
Chris has just said there, Phil, it's nothing to do with creating jobs, especially if those jobs are public jobs, you end up paying more in the long term. No, you pay almost nothing. You pay almost nothing. If you create a load of minimum wage jobs, it costs you almost nothing because straight away, a load of the money comes back to the Treasury in the form of national insurance and income tax. And then they spend more of, you're already paying a certain amount on unemployment benefits anyway, so you deduct that from it as well. And then you've got, as well as potentially some other benefits, then you've straight away they'll be paying council tax as well, where they wouldn't be if they're unemployed. And then they'll be spending the local economies as VAT. So it doesn't actually cost that much.
Yeah.
Well, it does cost something. There is a cost to it. And because you're talking about creating jobs that have no economic value, that cost is a real cost to it. But there's also a cost to allowing an economy to go into decline.
Yeah.
And that cost is a Reform UK government or something like the Conservatives. It doesn't even matter whether it's like what form it is. Like today, like Kemi, or it might have been yesterday, actually. I went to Cheshire yesterday, so I don't know what news is today and what was yesterday. But in terms of me catching up with the news today, Kemi Badenoch has now announced that, foreigners shouldn't have social housing. Now, you can argue all sorts of things about that, but the point is that is word for word a Reform UK policy that they announced earlier this year. So she is announcing Reform UK policies. So does it really matter whether the next right-wing government is a Reform UK government or a Tory government or some mix? It's the same thing at the moment. And that's the cost of allowing places to go into decline.
Well, yeah, and also if the Tories do get in or refuck do get in, most people who are on benefits and welfare can kiss goodbye to them because they seem to think that people are diagnosed with ADHD and they get a free car.
Yeah.
Or they, someone's dyslexic, so they get a free house. And they've got these stories, Phil. They've got a lot of stories. No evidence, no proof. There's a lot of stories. And from not my personal experience, but friends' experience of going through the PIP process, it's bloody difficult. It's a hard way to make money, Yeah, given the choice between doing that or standing up at a shop counter for a few hours and selling some Mars bars, I'd much rather sell the Mars bars. Most people
you wouldn't need to know the process because the idea that any Conservative government would be generous with a benefit system is ridiculous.
Well,
like even the good Conservatives don't believe in it.
They'll be generous.
No, even the good Conservatives don't believe in it. Like even the ones who genuinely believe their own politics see it as like the way it's characterized is you're making, it's like almost like velvet gloves. You're making it too comfortable to not graft, as they would say. So even the genuine ones, the honest ones. So the idea of a Conservative government having left Labour a generous welfare system is utterly batshit.
Yeah. Momo, thank you very much for the super chat, Momo. Please explain why reform voters, especially those on benefits, complain about welfare. Various statistics show that white British is the highest claimants.
Yeah, because
Well, who's
they don't
white
see it
British
that way.
these days, Phil? Apparently, King Charles is not white British now, because his dad
Yeah,
came from Greece,
yeah.
according to Reform's Rupert Lowe. So why do people on benefits complain about people on benefits? Because they
Because
do
they
this in
complain
other.
about other people. Theirs is all right
Yeah,
because they
theirs is
need it. It's
justified.
everyone else.
Everyone else is just. And do
Yeah.
they think that if the other people weren't getting those benefits, they will get more benefits?
I don't know.
So
I don't think they necessarily
they're
think it
stealing a
that
bit of
through.
their pie.
They if you think about it, if you think it through, it doesn't make sense on any real level, but that's how they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
They're thinking ultimately it comes down to this. They think a country has a finite size of the national cake or pie or whatever. It's a finite resources. So they reason the more people drawing on those resources, the less each of us get. But it's not like that at all, because the size of the national cake is determined by your productivity.
Yeah.
And so what a lot of these people are failing to understand is they want the productive people to leave so that the unproductive people have more. But that doesn't work. That's a mathematical nonsense. But it's because they don't understand productivity. Yeah. It's the same with, anything to do with climate. The reason why it was probably a mistake to talk about global warming when I was a kid, now they just call it climate change, is because then people get confused. How does global warming make more rain or make it colder? And it's because no one understands weather. You can go to the average person on the street and ask them to name a type of weather. And they'll give you, particularly in Britain, they'll give you a whole host of them. And then ask them, so how is that weather caused then? How is it that on one day we have that weather, on the next day we don't? They haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Most people have no idea how weather works, and most people have no idea how productivity works.
Yeah. I just find it really interesting that thousands and thousands of people are going to travel next week to go and watch a total solar eclipse, which has been predicted for many, many years, probably decades, maybe even longer than that. That would happen at exactly this time on exactly this day in the future. And that's the kind of predictive powers that you would in the olden days, they'll either burn someone to death if they were a woman, but if they were a man and came up with that kind of foresight to say on this exact day in 300 years time that there's going to be an eclipse, they'll worship them as a god. And science comes up with this stuff, and we go, no, we'll take all the evidence that we want to believe, and then the rest of the evidence about vaccines and about climate change, we're not going to believe that. The scientists are just making that up for shit and giggles, or the funds. What do they call it? The government grants that they get. Those massive government grants. Tell us about them, Phil. You were at Jodrell Bank this week.
Well, yeah.
How's science looking?
Ridiculous. Well, they've cut their annual funding for the Merlin project, which is utterly, it's batshit. Jodrell Bank, the way I describe it is the crown jewels of science in the Northwest. It brings a huge return in. It contributes a massive amount to the local economy, but it also is a huge training center. One thing I was talking about in my stream earlier today. So they're changing the procurement rules to focus so that, waiting for public contracts goes to companies who provide more jobs locally and pay better and stuff like that, which, unfortunately they're cutting all the climate goals out of it. But they're saying they want companies who drive innovation and growth. It's like, well, Jodrell Bank does that.
Yeah.
It literally trains, not just
and it's in Manchester as well. It's part of the University of Manchester.
It is part of the University of Manchester. It is in Cheshire. But it also trains all the people who go there. It trains aerospace engineers, mechanical engineers, data scientists, all the things
Number 10
that are part of modern innovation.
One thing as well that Labour have done this week, or they've announced, they said they're going to do, is changing the rules on immigration for high-skilled workers. And I think this is part of the thing. I was talking a while ago about we should just roll out the welcome mat to all these American scientists after Anthony Fauci has been found in contempt of Congress over in America for not answering questions about what day it is and what colour tie he's got on. They're changing the rules for immigration, so you don't need to have a job offer to come over. So I think this is courting.
But we're not going to get that many scientists if we're cutting research programs.
Well, exactly. So that's a bit of a weird one. Talking of weird ones, there's a story on the front cover of the FT today, and I didn't read about this until I saw it literally doing the show this morning. The Greens and Refuck are united in opposition. Do you know what to?
I do know exactly what to. I've looked into this. It's quite a funny one. You can report it in any number of ways. It's a beautiful story because you could literally say Reform UK and the Green Party have teamed up to block solar, which would be true. It wouldn't
Yes.
be fair, but it would be true. You can spin it in other ways as well. You can spin it like this. I could say this. Reform UK in this particular area, Reform UK say we should have solar panels on every roof in the country. And that's not Reform UK's national policy, but it is the Reform UK in that area's policy. Oh, there's all sorts of wonderful headlines you can get out of this that all sound massively contradictory and they're all true.
So what it is the dike-bound field to South Kent's historic Romney Marsh. Historic. Isn't everything historic? Like,
Yes.
isn't every hill, isn't every rock
Yeah,
historic?
I know.
You pick up
They
a rock,
just
it's
use the
millions of
word
years
when
old.
they want to try and say we're despoiling our green,
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the last bits of our like cultural heritage.
Yeah. Unlikely setting for Green Party and refuck consensus. The insurgent parties, the left and right, are united in opposing proposals to develop 10% of the marsh for solar panels. I mean, this is in line with the Greens protesting against HS2 and also protesting against the new cables, the new pylons that we're going to have to put across the country in order to allow the green revolution to go.
It's ultimately NIMBYism. Now, that's not to say that the general principle, like, so what they're arguing is, oh, no, we should be using this to grow food. And it's like, is the land being used to grow food? Because if it is, you've got an argument. If it isn't, then you haven't. But it's a funny one.
Well, it's called a marsh.
Problem,
it's called a marsh. Romney Marsh.
Yeah, I know, but some of it is used for agriculture. But I don't think the bit that the solar plant's going to be on. So it's like one of these things. I can understand the principle, and green supporters will, or a certain type of green supporter will always say to me, "I know, but Phil, but this no, there's a specific environmental concern there." It's like, well, what is it though? But the realistic situation is this: if you were to say to me, it's a choice between having a solar farm built on like this land, or putting solar panels on literally every structure pointing at the sun, I would say we'll put solar panels on every structure pointing at the sun. But it's not that choice, because from the point of view of this is private investment, right? So a private company has decided to build a solar farm because they can make money out of that. And we want that as well, because that sort of cleans up it improves energy security and also makes it cleaner.
Yeah.
But from their point of view, if you say to them, well, instead, why don't you put a solar panel every roof in like Kent or whatever? Yeah. It'd be like, have you any idea the administrative nightmare of going around every fucking building and getting the people's permissions for me to put a solar panel on there, but I still make the money out of it? Or I can just put this huge solar farm on this bit of land with one simple bit of authority from the government.
Yeah.
So the reality of the situation, the choice is between more solar or no more solar. There it is. But this particular case, when you do look into it, although there is, I will accept there are certain principles. I'm not saying, some solar farms I can agree can be objected to if it's like taking away from land that is actively being used to grow food. If the alternative is solar farm there or food, well, we need to produce more of our own food, not less. But that's not the case here.
Yeah. But also, as I said, cabling, the grid, it's not set up yet for everyone to have a solar panel on the roof and then feed it into the grid. We don't have the capacity. No. And also, it's not set up for getting renewable energy from Scotland down to the southeast.
Certainly
not.
So no.
What you need to do right now is build some stuff in the southeast, because the longer down a wire the electricity goes, the more drop off you have. So by the time it's gone a few hundred miles, you've lost 50% of the energy.
So you have to build it where you're going to use it to be more efficient. It's really that simple. I mean, and we don't, we do have a problem with capacity. I mean, because I'm getting an EV, I'm getting a charging point put in, but I need my electricity upgrading. Yeah. So Northern Power Grid are going to do it for free, because at the moment, because they did a bit of a fiddle when they set these houses up. So I'm in a loop with the neighbour, so they need to give me my own dedicated electricity supply. They came for their site visit. I can't remember when, actually. It was a couple of weeks ago, I think. I haven't heard from them since. So they still haven't even given me the date when they're going to come and do it.
Yeah.
So there's clearly a huge backlog in these sort of projects.
Chris has just put a good point in. About 36% of farmland is used for crops. The other 74% is used for grazing or shooting. And you can still have sheep grazing on a land that is got solar panels on it. They can just under the solar panels when it's too hot, too cold, or raining. That's really that 74% used for grazing or for shooting. So you've got these grouse.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with the shooting side of it. That's not necessary.
No, so tough. So there's grouse moors in Yorkshire, isn't there? That are huge.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to use them for farmland when we could. And then we've got the problem in the south at the moment. They're under drought conditions. They've got a hosepipe ban, but that doesn't extend to the golf courses.
Suffolk caught fire. I mean, this is what I was saying. Like the people who are at the moment, I had someone on Facebook today go, "Oh, these climate things overblown." Suffolk caught fire, mate. And like normally when we have like a fire like this in this country, it's usually caused by, yes, very dry weather. So the grass is very dry, but then someone being a tit with a barbecue, which is why they're actually calling for disposable barbecues to be banned. But that's not what happened in Suffolk.
Well, Wangy Pagan's saying we're talking about marshland, so we're not talking about farmland, we're talking about marshland, and they're important.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you look at it, so there is
sink.
Agricultural land in the area, but when I looked into it, it was literally because you could easily, you could say marshland. It's not actually the marshland they're building on, right? You know what I mean? So I did have to check it out.
It's like when they put the words grammar into a school name, but it's actually private.
Yeah, but the. But no, they don't really have an argument for it. It's literally NIMBYism in this particular case.
Yeah.
But I'd always have to check it out because you can sometimes get a situation where, they are genuinely objecting because of some, suitable reason. But in this case, there's no ecological it's NIMBYism. The locals don't want it.
At the moment, I mean, there's no perfect place to put solar panels, and we keep saying, "Oh, but why can't we have them over car parks and supermarkets? Why can't we have them on the roof of every house?"
Someone would have to build them there.
Because someone would have to build them. And also, we have the problem with transmission. We have the problem with getting that power in and out safely. Because don't forget, if you've got a big car park and you fill it full of solar panels, that's a lot of power. And if some knobhead turns around the corner a bit too fast and crashes into the junction box, that could lead to some death.
You can do that, but it would require significant. The problem we have at the moment is we need to massively ramp up renewables, and solar farms are a very, very cost-effective way to create a lot of solar. It would be better to stick solar panels on top of man-made structures.
Yes,
but that in the here and now would be more expensive, and because you'd be talking, it's like the difference between one large-scale project and lots of small-scale projects.
Yeah.
The small-scale projects.
Another thing is, this is absolutely 100% takeawayable. Like it's marshland now. They put the solar panels in. 10 years later, we don't need them anymore. Take them up. It's still marshland. It's not like you're concreting over it, building a house, building a motorway junction, which is what we use most of our green space for. Motorway junctions. Do what China did, build a huge farm made of fabric. Come on, people, let's go solar punk. Another problem with solar panels as well. So wind turbines, you can turn them off. Nuclear power stations, you can turn them off. I mean, it's a bit fiddly, but you can turn them off. Whereas you can't turn off solar panels. If the sun is hitting them, the only way to turn them off is to literally cover them with a sheet.
Yeah, well, I mean, what you need to do, this is why we also need to upgrade battery storage, or give it away for free and encourage people to use more of it in the
we need
early afternoon.
Reservoirs, so I think there should be a big project to get some more reservoirs built, and they built 2 of them, one a bit higher than the other, and during the when the energy is flowing.
You can't always do that though, unless you do a Hoover Dam type situation. In that,
that to be that big. I mean, think local. But I mean, if we're going to build reservoirs anyway, we might make have a bit of a step.
But that sort of thing requires a massive amount of concrete, which means huge carbon emissions. You sort of defeat the purpose.
Well, find some lakes and repurpose them as reservoirs. There must be some places in Lincolnshire that we could just flood.
No, Lincolnshire's flat. Where you have places that naturally do this like this, we already have hydroelectric.
Yeah. Roger Devine's asking it. There's also concerns from the wildlife point of view. Well, I don't know. I think we do enough damage to wildlife with the roads that we have everywhere. Like literally go
Yeah,
everywhere.
a solar farm is not going to have that much ecological impact. I mean, the bit directly under a solar panel ain't going to get much sun, but it's not like you're covering the entire area. It's like panels, there's gaps between them and
But
stuff.
whenever I've seen fields with solar panels, there's always been
Yeah, there's still vegetation there and still
vegetation
animals.
underneath, and it
Yeah,
cools it. Obviously, because you know, I think the places that have solar panels in the fields are doing better at the moment than fields that don't have solar panels, because they don't have the full force of the sun on them all day,
yeah.
because you're parching
And
land.
also, I mean, you might screw the odd owl over because the field mouse are going, ah, he's going to hide under here. But beyond that, yeah, I've not seen any scientific evidence that it does any real damage.
Perry says apparently Colombia has planted trees throughout urban areas as reduced the temperature in areas massively. Yeah,
Yeah,
trees are a
yeah.
fantastically effective way of.
I mean, you know, in cities, particularly somewhere like London, the temperature can actually be several degrees higher, sometimes 6 or 7 degrees higher than it would be if it weren't a city.
Yeah,
Just because massive amounts of concrete,
yeah, no
you know,
shade.
and all the AC going. That's why a lot of people are allowed to get AC in London, because it's like you're just chucking out more heat to the city. Where I mean, when I went to Sherwood Forest last weekend, it was a very hot day, but it was really cool because we're in a fucking forest. All the vegetation was absorbing it all,
Yeah, yeah.
so it was really quite cool.
I do feel though that this is not. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it's been a very good few weeks for the Green Party. I mean, they were doing really well last year. Zach Palance came in, a lot of new blood, a lot of new members, but I do feel like they're kind of like scrambling around a little bit at the moment. What do you think?
Because they want to, they're trying to think strategically for the first time ever. I mean, Zelensky, I keep calling him Zelensky, Zach Palansky. Zelensky's my name for him. Sorry, Zach Palansky. Came in promising to be a populist. Well, the thing about populism is it's bollocks. Populism is literally the politics of promising the impossible for a few grubby votes. And the thing is, especially if you don't ever expect to win power, you don't have to be all that serious about what you do. So he got himself, I mean, and also he came in at a time where he was a counter to Keir Starmer's Labour. Well, now it's a bit changed. Now, I'm not saying that they're suddenly going to struggle or something like that. They're still doing way better than they were before, but they are going to have growing pains if they want to establish themselves as a larger party and a party that could conceivably be a coalition partner. They are going to have to go through some growing pains, and that is probably going to bring them into conflict with some of their members, traditional and entryists, as well as even potentially some local authorities who won't have to do what Zach Palansky tells them to do, but they might bring them into conflict.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who left Labour on Labour left to join the Green Party, and especially there was a big wave when Zach Palansky took over, and that happened at the same time that the Your Party fiasco was going on, and that was collapsing in on itself. So there's a lot of political refugees who have ended up in the Green Party, and for what I've seen, I don't have a personal beef with the Greens, and I quite like Zach Palansky. I think he's all right, but like I think that they've created a lot of problems for themselves with getting people to sign up thinking that they're signing up to this anti-Israel party when actually that's never been its. I mean,
it's supposed to be it's
supposed to be pro-green party. Like it's in the name, you know what I mean? Like it's not meant to be one of their most.
But these people, that's what they do.
You know,
they went to Labour because they thought that that's what Labour was going to be like under Jeremy Corbyn, and then they left it for this. You know, they're just cuckoos. A lot of them. I'm not saying all the new Green members are. But
is that what you're saying? You're saying these are crazy
they are
people?
Cuckoos. They are actual cuckoos. They're just trying to
cuckoos.
They can't build their own. I mean,
well,
your party
proves
the
Socialist Workers Party. Why didn't they just join the Socialist Workers Party? It exists. It's existed for decades.
It exists on ballot papers, and that's it. So it does. But if some of them think they have a shot at power, they can only do it by nicking someone else's platform. Let someone else build a platform, then they just nick it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they don't really, some of them don't even believe in climate. It's not even like it's a lower priority for them. Some of them aren't interested in climate action at all.
Yeah. 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 Fat Spicer, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, mate. In Anglia, Lincolnshire, etc., lots of solar farms are on ex-World War II airfields, unfarmable spaces covered in concrete, rubble, good use of land. Yeah. And also, these Amazon warehouses that have gone up everywhere, they should all be. I mean, some of them are actually got
Some of them are, yeah.
subtitles on, but they should all. That should be the rule. I mean, if you're gonna destroy our high streets with your warehouses that deliver to people's homes, so people don't have to leave.
It's very convenient, but yeah,
very convenient.
But yeah, the least you should do is sort of say, we already have. Do you know what? In fact, it could draw a parallel. You know that latest Meta ruling.
Yes.
Where they've now been fined for, again, like not keeping children kids safe.
Yeah.
And the judge actually he went really
he went really far, didn't he? Yeah.
The judge basically said it's like, in terms of the business, you've got this. It almost, I can't remember the specifics, but like you can almost liken it to like places like McDonald's, for example, have to have something to make sure people just don't leave loads of litter around the area. So they have to make sure there's loads of bins and stuff like that. And their workers have to go around picking the litter up and stuff to make sure that you don't end up with loads of McDonald's litter around or KFC litter or whatever. And he likened it to the same thing. It's like you're causing this harm, so you're responsible for mitigating against it, and you haven't done. And the same thing applies here with the likes of Amazon. You could say at the very least you need to generate your own electricity. And in terms of contributing to community projects and things like that.
Are you aware of Zoe Bread, the campaigner?
Zoe Bread.
She does these wacky videos, but they've got a good point to them. She's gone after Liverpool City Council for putting the parking till 11 o'clock and not at night and not telling anyone. And her latest campaign has been against these warehouses that have been built in Wigan, which are like right next to it's a depot. So there's trucks coming in and out all the time, and it's just a stone's throw from where people live. And there's been 250 complaints from the people who actually live around this thing because it's making so much bloody noise. Yeah. But you're looking at that and you're like, how the hell did they get planning permission? There's no solar panels on the roof, by the way. Just these massive warehouses that what they'll do is they'll put in the planning permissions of one floor, and they'll say, oh, we won't have trucks after 11 o'clock at night, and it'll be dead quiet, and we won't have any materials, no dangerous materials or whatever. And then and we'll put some trees up so you can't see the warehouse because of the trees. And then they get the contract. Suddenly it's a 3-story building. It's a load bigger than it should have been. The trees, they put trees, like they just get some saplings and put them in the ground, and they just die because they're not in the right place, not planted at the right time of year, and not the right soil for that type of tree, etc. And they just absolutely take the piss. And now 24/7 they've got people coming and going.
See, that shouldn't be allowed because there's conditions. Your planning permission has conditions in it.
Yes. Yeah. But she's trying to get in touch with someone in the council to try and stop this, but they just keep giving her the runaround. If you ever want to follow someone who's quite fun on TikTok and that, Zoe Bread, look out for her. She makes humorous videos about. She's a masked campaigner. She wears a fake piece of bread over her face. Okay. It's gonna be funny that the old order is going to be brought down by a man with a bin on his head and a woman with a bit of bread on her face. These are the masked crusaders that we didn't know we needed, Phil. DC and Marvel never got onto these.
Well, I mean, if people no longer trust serious politicians, I mean, this is what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Follow the lunatics.
Yeah. But like solar panel is an absolute no-brainer in terms of making a lot of energy for like hardly any money comparatively. Yeah. They're so cheap now. We were looking at solar panels last time I was in Panama. They're like 50 quid for a 450 watt.
And they're still getting more efficient. The technology is still developing. It's still relatively early.
Yeah. Well, when I think my original solar panels like 10% efficiency, and now they're up to like 50% or something mad. I mean, they've gone really, really far up. And
it's still going.
They just get better. So what else am I saying? Even in the companies aren't allowed to do something like that, and it's unlawful. So what? The rules aren't enforced. If the rules aren't enforced, companies can literally do anything they want. Says Tim. That exactly. But this is particularly outrageous, and I think the people are,
Sorry, I'm guessing Oscar 5060 isn't in the UK. If you're getting an EV, Phil, make sure it's a V to G enabled one. Use it as a home battery. Yeah, we don't have that in the UK. Can't do it. It's not a
Do we
thing.
not?
It is in other countries, not in this country. So it wouldn't even be possible for me to do that. Although I will say the car can, but the home cannot.
Yeah. But if you got solar panels, you can.
But I
charge your
could.
car
I
up
can
with
stick an
solar.
adapter in it and run my laptop if I want to sit outside with my laptop for some
Yeah.
bizarre reason.
It's got a really long cable.
I'll just plug it in the house. It's fine.
I've got to say, having an EV, it's brilliant, Phil. Like
Yeah, can you rub it in? I've still got another 6 bloody months to wait.
I can't I've still not met anyone. I'm seeing so many more EVs on the road now. I've still not met a single person, even proper petrol heads, people who used to work with my dad years ago, fixing up cars, fixing up motorbikes, and they've got EVs now. I'm like, it's brilliant. Just plug it in. Just extension cord, plug it in.
Yeah, I mean, all of the stuff. See, when I got the car I've currently got just under 6 years ago now, I knew that the next one I get would be an EV. At the time, I thought it wouldn't be suitable for me. There were various issues still, but I knew that it'd all be gone in the next 5 years, and they are. They're all gone. All of the issues with it all disappeared.
Yeah.
So it's the right time for me to get it. It's just I've got to wait another 6 bastard months because apparently people in this country are stupid. And they don't appreciate air suspension. So because I can't get a stock car, I actually have to wait for them to build my order car because none of the stock cars have the optional air suspension or rear wheel steering because people in this country are stupid and don't appreciate such finery. False economy.
We just got another super chat in from SG. Thank you very much. £5 super chat towards a cheeky grin and a thumbs up from Phil. Phil, I promise that if we get the super chat target, you'll give a thumbs up. Is that all right?
Yeah, you're not supposed to make promises on behalf of others.
I know. I'm not supposed to pimp you out like this, but if you could just get a little half-assed kind of thumb in a moment, if you get one more super chat. The Too Long Didn't Read YouTube channel has reported that Burnham is raiding the green transition funds to fund these short-term policies and tax cuts. Disgraceful, in my opinion. So what do you think
what
about
he's
that,
slashed is short-sighted. He's destroyed the science department, and literally, if you look at all of the policies that have an impact on like climate action, they're all going against climate action. There's nothing massive yet, but it's the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But I was worried about it. I was concerned. At the end of the day, it's mathematically, this is the situation. If you're going to say, I'm going to raise the priority of this thing or these things, that means he's got to lower the priority of other things. Yeah. It's that simple. If you want to put more money into something, you have to take more money away from something else.
So yeah, Chris, right? What's this? The ombudsman won't get involved until the housing association compliance stages have been exhausted.
The council should get involved.
Yeah. The oil lobby has basically told all that will listen that an EV battery is useless after a couple of years. It's not. They've got AVs now that are like 15 years old and the batteries are still fine.
Right. I mean, there is an issue in the battery in that the difference between someone who looks after it and not could be significant, but they're the ones that are coming out now are massively efficient. I mean, this is, it's like a battery in your phone you don't care about. Like, I mean, I abuse the battery in my phone. I just charge it every single day. That reduces its lifespan because when a renewable, like a rechargeable battery is full, it's under massive load. So that wears it out more quickly. So you're actually better off just keeping it on the charge you need. Rather than keep topping it up. But with a phone, you don't care because a lot of people like to change their phone every few years anyway. In a car, it matters more. So yeah, there's a difference between someone getting a car and absolutely ragging it and someone who's looking after it carefully. Like if you get a 5-year-old car, some of them like are really good. Like the one I got was 5 years old and had like 20,000 miles on the clock, one careful owner, and it's never given me a day of trouble. You can see some other cars that are 5 years old with like 120,000 miles on the clock and they're absolutely knackered. It depends how you use them.
Yeah, one of the other things as well about having an electric car is just how cheap it is to refuel, compared with putting diesel in your car. Because we used
Yeah,
to have a diesel before this. We had the
right.
diesel, Mazda, before this Volkswagen we got now, and like just the savings have just been crazy. Wow, Phil, you're gonna have to give a thumbs up. I'm afraid. I think you might have to give a double thumbs up for this because Yorosh has just dropped a mega chat into the proceedings. Thank you so much for the 50 euros. Environmental gains aside, I'm for the EV revolution because it will change the world, politics, instability, all the oil crisis bring all the crises bring every year. Every nation should not be dependent on foreign hostile energy suppliers.
No.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. And thumbs up from Phil. Got a thumbs up from Phil. How good is that? How good is that, Yorosh? And if do you want a bin? Do you want a bin face? Go on. We'll get the bin feffy out. Hang on. Here we go. Give me a moment. Give me a moment to adjust me wellies, and then we will unleash the bin feffy. Yorosh, this is for you. Bin feffy! Yay! Bin feffy. Thank you so much. It's really kind. So we're going to have to wrap up in a little bit. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about today about what's been going on this week? Because it is the silly season, but we do have an election going on, which is a very silly election.
Next week.
Which is going to take place on Thursday next week. And we do have a new Prime Minister. I mean, there's a lot going on considering it's the silly season. And there are a few little crises that are coming together all at the same time. We're in drought, most of the country. We've got this prison release situation, which Andy Burnham's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't situation.
There's still better ways to deal with it, but still.
What about the Nightingale prisons type idea where you start putting... But actually, I say that...
You still need staff, don't you?
Yeah, there's a prison in Yorkshire that's got 1,500 spaces, and they don't have the staff. So they're just sitting. These cells are sitting empty.
You can't just get Serco to look after it.
Do you know what? I was in the Aussie the other day, and I couldn't believe how many Serco branded things, like the vending machines were Serco branded. Really? You know, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where the doors like greet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. You know, it's like, does everything have to be Serco? Is this? I don't know. But yeah, and EasyJet's just been bought by an American company. You know.
All right.
No more British companies anymore.
Okay. Well.
To sell them all to America, to some bloody hedge fund. Perry is saying, I heard someone claim EVs are scrapped for having a scratch. What?
Yeah. So the issue again, when someone says, "Oh, there's this problem with EVs," it may have been an issue before. It's less so now. So there are issues with them. One of them is because the batteries are bastard heavy. It makes the car bastard heavy, which of course then means it uses more energy to shift it along, as well as potentially the damage it could do to the road being bastard heavy. I mean, the car I'm going to get is bastard heavy. And there's this trade-off. So you can lighten them a bit by cutting, in terms of like, so if you, one of the things they did in the earlier days is by having everything completely sealed in. So if anything went wrong with the battery, it's like you have to write it off because you can't get to it, right?
Yeah.
And you do that. Whereas if you make it so that engineers can access different parts of it to do repairs, you're building in more stuff and making it heavier. So the car I'm getting, you can repair it, but it comes at a cost of higher weight. But the batteries are becoming more efficient now as well. But then Phil, people are just making bigger batteries.
Do you know what's also bastard heavy? An internal combustion engine. I know, because we used to take them out of the cars at my dad's garage.
Yeah, but it's not. An ICE car, because the manufacturers are still producing some models of cars where you can have an electric version and an ICE version, and the ICE versions are like half a ton lighter. So no, there's no comparison there. Yes, an engine is heavy for a person to lift out, but in terms of the overall tonnage, it can be half a ton heavier for an electric version of something sometimes. So they are heavy, and because of that, some have tried. And there has been an issue with some EVs just because of the way they're engineered. If certain things go wrong with them, although it's usually not the batteries that have something go wrong with it, it's usually some other, something that connects the batteries to the motors. But nonetheless, yeah, if you have a situation where you can't easily get at something, it can be written off.
Yeah.
But then you could also say they're less likely to get involved in accidents just because of cars in general, because they have all the modern safety systems now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking up the E-Type Jag 2-seater. That's 1,533 kg, so 1,500 kilograms. A Volkswagen ID4, which you can fit five people in, that's 1.8, 1,800 kilograms.
The car I'm getting is 2.7 tons.
2.7. What are you getting, a bloody monster truck?
No, it's a very big battery in it.
You get a tank. What are you? Sisu?
It's got a 94 kilowatt hour battery in it.
Bin Feffy should have the Bin Face song. Yeah, maybe we should grab the Bin Face song. So Bin Face has done a cover of National Express.
Yeah, but copyright,
Apparently, what you should do, if you're worried that someone is filming you with those bloody Ray-Ban Meta glasses, right? You start singing a Disney song, because that'll automatically trigger the copyright thing on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. And someone pointed out, so you're telling me that Disney songs have more protection under law than women? Yeah,
they do.
But, trans people might use the wrong toilet, Phil, so that's what we've got to obsess about instead of actually making the world safer for women.
It's difficult to know what the right toilet is, because I looked through the guidance. I don't even know what the right toilet is now.
Well, the woman who came up with the chair of the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, she was interviewed on Channel 4 this week, and she didn't seem to know.
No.
Because
basically, I've looked through. I've actually tried to get in touch. I tried to get in touch with Good Law Project. They just ignored me. But I tried to get in touch with a few lawyers who sounded like they were taking an interest in it, just to go through from a lawyer's point of view how it reads. But so I had to do without that. So I've done it myself, and I've just thought. So the answer seems to be, they have named certain types of facility where trans women are not allowed in the women's toilets, but that's very specific. So in terms of general businesses, the answer seems to be, well, it depends. If you'll have customers who'll sue you if trans women go in, don't let trans women in. But if you'll have trans women sue you for not letting them in, then let them in.
Yeah,
that's not very helpful, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
And the only way to be completely clear of lawsuits from either side is to knock down all the men's and women's toilets and to rebuild them as gender neutral toilets, which would need the floor to ceiling doors, which I've seen Google headquarters in London they've had those for years. So but also apparently they're supposed to have like isolated wash basins. I mean, I don't know, I actually understand exactly what that's supposed to mean. But if that means you've got to build a cubicle with a wash basin in it.
Can't you just take the signs off the doors and just have toilets?
No. That's not, no. There's specific requirements for the design of them.
For which sounds to me like it will take floor to ceiling
doors. Plus, it seems to me, separate wash basins. But I may be misunderstanding that bit, but it's something to do with wash basins anyway, which all sounds to me like it would come at exceptional cost.
The world's on fire, and people are like, we need to add an extra couple of inches to the bottom of this door.
But I'll tell you what will happen. I will tell you what will happen, because right now I guarantee there are campaign groups for both the transphobes and trans people going around looking for test cases, because that's what you do when the law changes. You need new case law, right? Yeah. So I will guarantee that. And I can imagine a scenario where if the government don't get sensible about it, the only way to protect yourself is to have gender neutral toilets. So all these people are going, I don't want men in my toilets. There were never men in your toilets unless they were taking their daughters in. Yeah. There will be now, though. In the next 10 years, there probably will be, because their businesses could well take the view. It's just ridiculous. We're just going to have gender neutral toilets, and then see how they like that.
So you can't sit down to piss and you can't stand up to drink. It's a terrible time to be alive, isn't it? Did you see the news story about not being able to stand up to have a drink?
Yeah,
all over the newspapers, and it's nonsense. It's like that's not what they were. Whatever. It's like Chinese whispers sometimes. The British media. What I was going to say, Andy says, forfeit the right to have wheels. So the enforcing officer just talks the wheel nuts off. Have you ever had your wheel nuts talked off, Phil?
Not talked off, no. As in talk, as in with a Q in it.
Yes, talk of the devil, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing I absolutely love about my electric car. Last week I was in Scotland going up a hill, and the guy in front of me clearly put his petrol car, his old fashioned, one of those old fashioned cars, Phil, like from the olden days. But they just got rid of horses and they had these petrol cars, and he was in front of me, and he obviously we've gone up a hill, and he went into fourth when he went to go into second.
All right. Oh dear.
And I overtook him with ease. Just like this. I had my hands behind me. I didn't even do it. The car just drives itself these days.
I mean, I will say, because my
having
car's
a cup of
petrol, but it is also automatic, so it does sometimes have an ad dab on hills because it's not quite sure what I want to do. Because there are still gears, it's just chooses them, but it's not all that clever.
Well, exactly. So let's do away with gears. Let's make gearboxes.
Although my car is going to be awkward, it does have 2 gears technically.
What? Forward and back?
Electric car's 2 gears. Well, no, it has 2. The idea is that when you go, well, it depends. Like it's got its main gear, like but when you're doing a high speed, it goes into a second gear for efficiency purposes.
Yeah. Hidden Light says, I find it hilarious we're arguing about who can use the toilet, yet we don't have hoverboards or flying cars. Imagine if Marty McFly had gone into the future, right, 41 years instead of 30 years.
If it was realistic, it would be quite boring.
And instead of there being hoverboards, there were just people arguing about what toilet to use. And that was the whole movie.
Because that's another thing businesses will have to think about, because the guidance also is a bit funny about, so, again, it's about a rule. What's a rule if it's not enforced? So there will be people trying to enforce it, right? Vigilantes. So like the guidance seems to suggest it's probably bad cricket to be challenging people who are going into the bogs, but it might be legitimate under certain circumstances without saying what those circumstances are.
Yeah.
So businesses may also have to cope with people constantly going up to them. I think that pisses them off. I mean, I keep saying, if anyone sees J.K. Rowling go into a toilet, challenge her and claim that she looks like Mickey Rourke, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or Graham Linehan, just say, you seem to have got tits, mate. You're not going in there, right? Just do that. See how they like it. You're probably not going to encounter them, in all honesty. But if you do, it'd be worth it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just finishing off now. So I just want to say thanks very much to Phil Moorhouse for joining us this afternoon. Are you doing a show tomorrow, Phil?
Yeah.
Phil, hello?
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Are you doing a show tomorrow at 7?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're not already signed up, subscribed to Phil's channel, please consider subscribing to Phil's channel, which is at A Different Bias. If you're not already subscribed to this, you're watching it on catch up or something, please subscribe, and you can join the chats. Consider joining the channel, actually. That's always a good thing to do. And we'll get your name at the end of the credits once I update them. And I might be back tonight because I can't do a Sunday night social. That's what I'm talking about. All summer's going to be messed up for me with schedule. Yeah, bloody schedule. But do you know what I should do, Phil? More pre-records like what you do, because then if you're going to have problems getting things out at the right time, you can do a bunch of them all at once and then set them up to be released.
Exactly.
Whatever. Anyway, so I might do a Friday night social tonight because I can't do a Sunday night social on Sunday night. So if you are subscribed to the channel, please hit the bell notification icon and you get a little ping in your pocket if you decide to do that. Once I get back to Durham, because I've got to jump in the car now and drive back to Durham in my electric car. Hopefully,
just put a bin on your head. No one will know who you are. The thing is, Count Beanface, you see his interview with the iPaper. He said his suit's a bit smelly, but he's raised a load of money with crowdfunding, so he might splash out on a new suit.
Excellent.
So he might. I don't know whether it's like going to have a Glade plug-in or something.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thanks, Phil. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, Yorosh, for that mega chat. That was really kind of you. Thank you very much. Oh, hang on. I do have a mega chat. I didn't think I had a mega chat animation, but I do. That's for Yorosh. Thank you. And until next time, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.